And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. This is Robert Cardoza Live. You're listening to. We actually got a little bit of a late start. We were having some technical problems here, and hopefully we've got those all taken care of. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. We didn't want to create any more of a problem than we already had, and so obviously starting a little bit late was the answer to taking care of that. Well, right now, what I want you to know is that at 3:03 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 67 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's down from 69 degrees on its way down to 50 degrees. You know what? It's a beautiful day outside. It's beautiful. A little bit of a breeze, but we're expecting some sun, or not some sun, but some rain to pop in here tonight. And so we're going to have a few days of rain as spring begins. So we'll see what happens with that. On today's show, we're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then of course we'll do our new segment, the rest of the story by Paul Harvey. It's a tribute to Paul. Today's story is Rescue Party. You're not going to want to miss it. It's really an interesting story that we're going to be talking about, and you know what? And it's really unique. You're going to like it. You're not going to want to miss it at all. But now, what I want to talk to you about is the news. And we have a lot of stuff going on in the news, so we might as well just get right to it. First off the top is, we're talking about Director Comey for the FBI. The FBI probing Trump-Russia links, wiretap claims are bogus. Yeah, looks like the man lied, huh? Well, I don't know if he lied. Maybe he just repeated something that he didn't wait until it was proven. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Nobody else is. Anyway, the FBI is investigating whether President Donald Trump's campaign associates coordinated with Russian officials in an effort to sway the 2016 presidential election. Director James Comey said today in an extraordinary public confirmation of a probe the president has refused to acknowledge, dismissed as fake news, and blamed on Democrats. In a bruising 5-hour session, the FBI director also knocked down Trump's claim that his predecessor had wiretapped his New York skyscraper, an assertion that has detracted White House officials and frustrated fellow Republicans who acknowledge they've seen no evidence to support it. The revelation of the investigation of possible collusion with Russians and the first public confirmation of the wider probe that began last summer came in a remarkable hearing by one branch of government examining serious allegations against another branch in the new president's election campaign. Tight-lipped for the most part, Comey refused to offer details on the scope, targets, or timeline for the FBI investigation, which could shadow the White House for months, if not years. The director would not say whether the probe has turned up evidence that Trump associates may have schemed with Russians during a campaign marked by email hacking that investigators believe was aimed at helping the Republican defeat Democrat Hillary Clinton. I can promise you, the FBI director vowed, we will follow the facts wherever they lead. Comey, for the first time, put himself publicly at odds with the president by contradicting a series of recent tweets from Trump that asserted his phones had been ordered tapped by President Barack Obama during the campaign. Well, with respect to the president's tweets about alleged wiretapping directed at him by the prior administration, I have no information that supports those tweets, and we have looked carefully inside the FBI, Comey said. The same was true, he added, of the Justice Department. His confirmation of the Russia links investigation was striking given the FBI's historic reluctance to discuss its work, but Comey said the intense public interest in the matter and permission from the Justice Department made it appropriate to do so. Well, we'll see what's going to happen there. So obviously, there's enough smoke and fire to talk about the Russian part of it. Gosh, all I can say is I hope the administration isn't involved in any collusion with Russia to get this done. Well, there are some fact checks that are going on. Trump twists FBI chief's words on Russia. He says President Donald Trump produced a running commentary today on FBI Director James Comey's testimony to Congress. Thanks to the length of the hearing and the immediacy of Twitter, Comey was able to comment on the president's commentary without leaving his seat. It was a nearly real-time exchange that circled back on itself like a cat chasing its tail. Trump's tweet: the NSA and FBI tell Congress that Russia did not influence electoral process. And the actual facts are, no such assurance was offered by Comey or his fellow witness at the hearing. National Security Agency Director Mike Rogers, they did not offer any conclusions about whether Russia succeeded in influencing the election. Comey says, asked about the tweet, while he was still testifying, he voiced no opinion on Russia's influence. We have no information on that subject, he said. It's not something that we looked at. He confirmed, though, that the FBI is investigating whether and how Russia tried to shape the election. A probe, he says, includes any potential coordination between Trump campaign associates and the Russia's government. Trump also tweeted out at the same time, this guy's nuts. FBI Director Comey refuses to deny the briefed President Obama on calls made by Michael Flynn to Russia. The facts actually refuses to deny is true, but perhaps misleading. Throughout the hearing, Comey declined to deny any assertion made by his questioners that mentioned Flynn or any other individuals, explaining that the FBI is not in the business of correcting or verifying such reports. Flynn helped Trump in the campaign, became national security advisor at the start of Trump's presidency, and was fired after he was found to have misled senior members of the administration about his contacts with Russia's top diplomat in the United States. Well, Trump also tweeted, FBI Director Comey, former DNI clapper, right to say no evidence on collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign. Well, the actual facts here is Trump leaves out an important nuance in this tweet about the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. Comey agreed there was no evidence of collusion in the report prepared by the United States intelligence community under Clapper, but that's different than saying no such evidence has been discovered. Well, we'll see what happens. Look, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to have more news for you. So don't go away. We got a lot of great show for you. Stand by.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? High court nominee, I'll be unbiased or hang up the robe. You know what? Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch pledged to be independent or hang up the robe as the U.S. Senate began rancorous hearings today on President Donald Trump's conservative pick to fill a Supreme Court seat that has been vacant for more than a year. Gorsuch sought to take the edge off Democratic complaints that he has favored the wealthy and powerful in more than 10 years as a federal judge. The 49-year-old Coloradan told the Senate Judiciary Committee that he has tried to be a neutral and independent judge and has ruled both for and against disabled students, prisoners, and workers alleging civil rights violations. But my decisions have never reflected a judgment about the people before me, only my best judgment about the law and the facts at issue in each particular case, Gorsuch said. That was his opening statement a day ahead of expected pointed questioning from committee Democrats. A Supreme Court confirmation hearing is a major occasion on Capitol Hill. The last one was in 2010, but today's was overshadowed by a separate event in the Capitol complex. On the House side, FBI Director James Comey was testifying that the Bureau is investigating Russian meddling in last year's election and possible links and coordination between Russia and associates of Trump. Blending the two hearings, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut referred to a looming constitutional crisis that the Supreme Court might need to resolve. The court's 8 current justices are roughly divided ideologically between conservatives and liberals. The Russian storyline, as well as Trump's verbal attacks on federal judges, both during the campaign and as president, have fed into Democratic efforts to force Gorsuch to break publicly with the man who nominated him. Gorsuch already has told some senators in private meetings that he found the criticism of the judges disheartening. But Blumenthal said the nominee needs to make a statement publicly and explicitly and directly. Well, for their part, Republicans uniformly portrayed Gorsuch as a genial, principled judge whose qualifications make him eminently suitable for the nation's highest court. I'm looking for a judge, not an ideologue, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana said. Well, actual questioning is to begin tomorrow. Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, an Iowa Republican, said he expects a committee vote for Gorsuch's nomination on April the 3rd, which would allow the full Senate to take up the nomination that week. Gorsuch could be on the bench by the time the justices meet for a round of arguments in mid-April. You know what? Let's get that filled. Let's get past this partisan politics and get that filled so we can start, at least on that end, moving forward with regard to our government. Man, we got to do something. We got to get this thing moving, for Pete's sake. It's stagnated. How about this? The first daughter of Ivanka Trump gets West Wing office. Wow. Cementing her role as a powerful White House influence, Ivanka Trump is working out of a West Wing office and will get access to classified information, though she is not technically serving as a government employee, according to an attorney for the first daughter. Since President Donald Trump took office, his eldest daughter has been a visible presence in the White House, where her husband, Jared Kushner, already serves as a senior advisor. On Friday, she participated in a meeting on vocational training with the president and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Jamie Gorlick, an attorney and ethics advisor for Ivanka Trump, said today that the first daughter will not have an official title, but will get a West Wing office, government-issued communications devices, and security clearance to access classified information. Gorlick said Ivanka Trump would follow the ethics rules that apply to government employees. Our view is that the conservative approach is for Ivanka to voluntarily comply with the rules that would apply if she were a government employee, even though she is not, said Gorlick, who also helped Kushner with the legal strategy that led to his White House appointment. The White House counsel's office agrees with that approach. Well, let's hope so. You know what? There's a lot of things going on. We just got to get past all of this stuff that's getting in the way and start moving forward. That's just the only thing that we can do, and that's for sure. Well, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. In the first case up is there's no penalty for an honest mistake. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We got a lot of great show for you. Just stand by.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 70 on its way to 52 degrees. And we're going to get some rain showers here later tonight and certainly all day tomorrow probably and the next day. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in New York City, hey, it's 53 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, enjoying our show, it's 47 degrees and it is overcast. But right now, I want to put a smile on your face. I want to talk about, the IRS loses. First case up is, hey, there's no penalty for an honest mistake. Get this. Jorge Savoda exercised stock options to receive $75,000 of income that was taxable as wages, but he didn't understand the tax law and reported it as tax-favored capital gain. Now, when the IRS increased his tax bill, it added a 20% penalty. He protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. Mr. Savoda's mistaken reporting of the income resulted from an honest misunderstanding of the law that is reasonable in light of his experience, knowledge, and education. Since there was reasonable cause explaining his good faith error, the penalty is lifted. Now we're talking. How about this? The IRS loses. They cannot collect non-payment penalties when no return was actually filed. Yeah, sounds strange, doesn't it? Listen to this. Charles Wheeler didn't file a tax return to report his retirement income of more than $40,000. Now, the IRS assessed tax. He filed a case in tax court, and the court decided that the amount of tax that he actually owed. Now, the IRS then sought penalties for non-payment of the tax and of estimated taxes. He went to court. This is what the judge said. The non-payment of tax penalty is based on the amount of tax due as shown on the return. But Wheeler hadn't filed a return, and the IRS hadn't filed a substitute return for him either. Similarly, the minimum estimated tax payments due are based on the prior year's return. But the IRS hadn't put one into evidence. So the penalties cannot be collected. Yeah, they just keep trying, don't they? Absolutely, they sure do. Try this one on for size. How about a 6-hour layovers make away from home expenses deductible? Well, you know what? A ferry captain on Puget Sound, Washington, worked 17-hour days on runs completed within 24 hours that included a 6-hour layover at an away-from-home port. Now, he paid for his own meals and deducted them and other costs as away-from-home travel expenses. But the IRS disallowed the deduction, saying that he was never away from home. He had used no premises or hotel room in the distant port, but only slept on the boat when necessary. So he went to court. That's what the judge said. The captain did sleep during the layovers, and the need to sleep on a trip is a test of being away from home, for tax purposes anyway. The fact that he slept on the boat didn't matter. So the captain qualifies. You got to just love that, huh? Yeah. Well, you know what? Now we're going to talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. It's very much like the Twilight Zone. We call it Inside the IRS. Yeah, well, you know what? Now, these are not actual tax court cases, but this is information. You know what? And I keep telling you, the most valuable commodity you have is information. It's knowing what the IRS has done, what they're doing, what they're going to do, or anybody for that matter. Information is just key to knowing what's going on in your life. That's where you really want to be knowledgeable with what to expect. So let's start off with this. You know what? Think about it. When a routine audit turns into a criminal investigation. You know, it's not unusual for a revenue agent to uncover criminal conduct that's intent to evade tax during a routine audit. For instance, personal expenses may have been claimed as business expenses, or income may not have been reported because the checks were negotiated by a check cashing service and were not entered as gross income on the tax return. How to protect yourself? Do not let the accountant who prepared your tax return get involved in your audit. Why? He or she may ultimately become a witness against you if there is a criminal trial. Also, the accountant may incriminate you during the course of the examination. I say, hey, my client told me that the personal expenses should be claimed as business expenses. If someone commits tax fraud, he should hire an experienced criminal tax attorney to handle the audit, starting with the very first phone call to that revenue agent. Don't think you can handle it, and don't begin to think the person who represented you did it. You need to get somebody independent that's looking out at your best interests and can't be coerced into being your enemy here. How about this? The IRS is delaying refunds for international filers. You know what? Non-residents filing Form 1040-NR, that's non-resident, can expect to wait for their refunds relating to their tax returns. Now, these tax returns are now being processed in Dallas instead of Philadelphia, where they had been processed for many, many years. Now, calling the IRS and asking that the status of your return or refund is virtually useless to you, since many of these tax returns have not even been posted to the computer system. What do? If the IRS does not have a record of your return, your tax return, send it another signed copy together with a cover letter explaining that you were informed that there is no record of the first return that you filed. Send the return by certified mail, return receipt requested. Ask your accountant to mail the tax return on your behalf if you're located outside of the country. Try to get the name of the person that you can address your letter to. Your best bet? Follow up every 2 weeks and try to get a manager to take an interest in your case. That's going to be the best way to handle this. Always get them. You know, if you always want to get above that auditor level, if you can. Managers are going to be more anxious to settle cases, get things off the desks, move things along. And so they're generally a lot more reasonable than what some of these auditors can be. At least that's been my experience. You want to get to a higher level where people are dealing with the law and not personalities. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos on our semi-weekly simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate. So we'll be talking to them right about 2:35, somewhere in there. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll tell you all about what's going on. I think, well, we're going to be talking about the budget. We're going to be talking about Gorsuch and why that's important to be happening right now. A lot of things going on right now. So we'll be piquing your interest. You're not going to want to go away. This is going to be an exhilarating few minutes with, probably about a half hour with Joe and John. So don't go away. Stick with us.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. Jon Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to our show in Paris, France, well, it's 52 degrees and it's overcast. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy today, it's 55 degrees and mostly cloudy. I'll tell you what, clouds are going to be coming around here a little bit later. But right now, we're waiting for Jon Matthews. He should be calling in any second, him and Joe Hakos. And when he does, well, you know what? We're going to be talking about the conservative politics. I'm sure he's got a lot of things he wants to talk about, but it'll be interesting. But like I say, should be calling in any second. Sometimes he runs a little bit long. His commercial breaks are a little differently scheduled than mine, and so we'll see what actually transpires with Jon. But hopefully he'll start calling in here any second. There, he's starting to come in now. I think he's starting to come in now. There he is. And we're on with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Actually functions and how it works. Are you there, Bob?
I sure am, Jon.
All right, my friend. Hey, listen. I'm really kind of trying to get my head wrapped around this Ryan Care bill, and it's supposed to come up for a vote sometime this week. I'm not sure whether it will or won't. They're trying to, we heard earlier before we came on the air with you, Joe's representative down there in Florida wouldn't state a position whether he's going to vote for this or not, because he said right now there's 335 people who all want something different. So there's we're not sure this is how it's going to play out. But one thing I do know, that I've so far in my research, is that the effectiveness of this bill is going to hinge on Medicaid and what Medicaid eventually becomes or ceases to become. And I was wondering if you could enlighten our listeners here today as to really how Medicare functions. Are you up on that?
Oh, are we talking about Medicare or Medicaid, John?
I'm sorry, Medicaid. I'm sorry, I get the two confused sometimes.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules with Medicaid. Medicaid originally was for destitute people with no net worth, and what happened was that the state that you live in, if they were participating to any extent with Medicaid, and the federal government used to split almost 50-50 the costs of that. And what would happen is that if you needed medical care or care in general, whether it be in assisted living, that kind of stuff, that if your net worth was below $2,000, then you would qualify for Medicaid, and the state would pick up your expenses for assisted living and medical expenses and all of those kinds of things. The federal government, it's a state program, but the federal government would I was going to say donate. They would provide about 50% of the cost of that to the states and send off the states, and each state got a different amount of money depending on what program they were actually doing, and that's what happened. Now, under Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, they utilized a portion of Medicaid, and they were administrating the Affordable Care Act through Medicaid, which jumped up the cost of Medicaid exponentially, and that is the management system that manages the Affordable Care Act today. And the new program, what they're trying to do is to eliminate the federal portion of the Medicaid by either doing block grants, or depends on what they actually put through. The states are still going to have some kind of portion of Medicaid, and they're going to probably continue to administrate what is now called the American Health Care Act, and that's pretty much how Medicaid works, John.
Okay, now let's try to put this just a little bit of context to this. Would I be correct if I was to compare and say Medicaid is basically Medicare for those under 62 who are destitute?
You could say that, yes, but even if all you had was Medicare and your net worth, let's just say your Social Security was bottom line, that you didn't put hardly anything into Social Security, you'd still qualify for Medicare, and be able to get Medicare. And Medicare is a minimal amount of premiums that would be paid for by the government, and you still get that care. But Medicaid is a whole different thing. It's strictly for people who have no net worth, have no resources, and the states wind up paying for their medical care, their assisted care, and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so now Medicare, like Social Security, is something that we who spend our years in the workforce contribute to. Am I correct there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so what we're talking about in terms of Medicare is we get to a certain age, 62, and you say, or 65, I believe it is. So they say, 65 years old, you now start withdrawing based on what you have put in, just like an insurance policy. You might live to expend all that you put in and maybe more, and you might not. So we're talking about the risk. But the point I'm getting at here is that Medicare is basically a tax-funded program for those over the age of 65, whereas Medicaid is something that the government has come into an agreement or a partnership with the states and says, you pay X number of dollars, we pay X number of dollars, and this is for people who have not virtually, literally not paid anything into any system at all from which they withdraw. It's pure charity, if we call it that.
That's correct. It's totally a socialistic program where Medicare, you are required by law to sign up for Medicare at age 65, or you're penalized if you don't do so. Medicaid, you could get Medicaid if you're a teenager. You could get Medicaid if you're a young adult. Medicaid is a welfare program.
Okay, all right. Now, in line with that, one other question I have before I start launching into my theories and contentions about things. There are certain things that I've been reading about Medicaid that they reimburse expenses. For instance, a woman today under the Affordable Care Act, if she purchases privately an insurance program that provides abortion, she can have an abortion and Medicaid will reimburse her the expenses for that. Under the Ryan Care bill, they want to eliminate that. Am I correct there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so we're actually talking about taxpayer-funded abortions through a backdoor subsidy, which is now called reimbursement rather than payment. Am I correct there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so the lie that Obamacare would not fund abortions is a lie.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now,
well, first of all, John, you know that Obamacare was actually providing money to Planned Parenthood, a fairly substantial amount of money to them that were providing abortions and that kind of stuff already, and that's a given. That's what we already know that.
Yeah, and so, but the argument being presented by Planned Parenthood, because under this new budget that Trump is out there touting, he is saying that basically they want to pull funding for Planned Parenthood. Now, Planned Parenthood is saying, oh, you're going to screw up all our other services because we don't use this money for abortions. But Medicaid allows some reimbursable expenses to those who have abortions through Planned Parenthood when it is determined it's for the health of the mother.
That's correct.
Okay, so another lie.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
Now, so when we start talking about the idea of phasing out Medicaid, which is what the Trump administration is doing, and they're saying basically what they want to do is give block grants to the states and allow the states to manage the programs, but the federal government will still mandate what the states have to offer in terms of coverage. Am I correct there?
Yes, you are.
All right. So how does this become anything other than Obamacare?
It's Obamacare, not on steroids, but the other way around. It's a Obamacare light, I think, is how it's been referred to.
Yeah,
and you know, John, the one thing you can always tell when a politician's lying because their lips are moving, and they're all trying to make sure that what they're doing is getting the approval of their constituents, and a lot of times that is not what the country in general wants. And, it's sort of like, Trump got elected by the electoral process, not the popular vote. That's the same thing that's going on when you start seeing them fooling around with what they describe as reimbursements, as opposed to all they're doing is changing the definition of what they're doing so that the general public doesn't understand it. They are convinced, and they're probably right, that the majority of us are just plain stupid. We don't care, or we don't understand it.
Well, I'm not so convinced that the Congress as it is right now is determined to convince constituents. I think Trump is trying to do that. He's out there holding his rallies. He's doing what Obama did during Obama's administration when he wanted something passed. He went out and he campaigned on it. I have nothing against that. That's the strategy he's choosing. However, what I'm getting at here is that what we're really listening to is we're just being sold the same snake oil in a different bottle, and we're calling it something else. Where when we talked about the tax mandate for Obamacare, and Obama's people kept saying it's not a tax, and Robert said, John Roberts in the Supreme Court says it is a tax, but since Congress isn't stopping you from doing anything, you go ahead and do what you want to do, that kind of thing. So that it's using these words that spike the average American, and they hear it. And what they're trying to do now is they're trying to paint the vision once again that the Republicans want to push grandma over the cliff by taking away her Medicaid. And so I'm sitting here looking at it going, well, again, it supports my argument. And I think Joe's in alignment with me here, that what we need to do is whatever tax dollars are going into federally subsidized health care need to cease from being taken from taxpayers. They need to turn the health care situation over to the states. The states put it on a ballot, and they ask the people that live in those states, do you want state subsidized health care? Let's vote on it. And are you willing to pay for it through your taxes?
And I think you need to go one step farther, though, Joe. And that is that I agree with everything you said, as long as our federal income taxes are reduced by the same amount of money that they were using to support Medicaid in the first place, and then have the state tax make up that difference.
Well, that's what I was just saying. That money that the federal government is taking should either all of that should go to the state, which I don't think is right either, because the federal government still has their hands on it.
Yeah.
I think it should be, they should quit taking it. And the states now come to the residents of that respective state and say, look, we want to subsidize health care, like they're trying to do right now out here in California.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom just introduced this initial legislation, state-funded health care. He wants to get away from the federal government and just do it as a separate entity. So we say, okay, now we put it on the ballot. Do you people want to pay more taxes for the state to run a health care program? The state votes yes or no, and whatever happens, that happens. The federal government's completely eliminated. That's my, and I just want to make sure I had my facts lined up with Medicaid before I came out and said, this is my official position, what you have just done.
Yeah.
We got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue.
And we'll be back with Jon Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire, on its way down to 52 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, hey, it's 45 degrees and it is cleared. If you're in Vienna, Austria, listening to our show, it's also 45 degrees and it's also clear. Now, we're waiting for Jon to recontact us so we can get back on our simulcast. And there he is right now. Jon Matthews.
Hooking back Bob here.
I'm here.
All right, Bob.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, boys?
All right. I want to thank you for that, for confirming. I guess the research I've been doing actually paid off. I'm pretty close to. I think I'm pretty solid now on where I stand and why. Even more so, why I'm against this Ryan Care piece of legislation. And before we move on to the topic here, Joe, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, just understand that the Ryan Care bill gives the states the option to do the funding via the block grant. Have the option to do whatever. They could take it over, but if they take it over, that means they get less money. So none of the states are going to do that, and it's going to stay the status quo as far as that goes.
Well, yeah, but the premise is, Joe, that if they do this, then the federal government is in effect overtaxing us, and they need to give us back that tax credit as a refundable credit for this year, and then let the state go ahead and make up the difference so that we can straighten that out, so the state doesn't actually lose what used to be a subsidy.
Yeah, that's going to happen. California is going to take over whatever.
Hey, they call us a progressive state, Joe.
Yeah.
We're not a state made up primarily of only retirees like you guys are.
We're retirees. We don't even live here, Bob.
Yeah, we're sitting where, well, Joe and I are blessed. We have the VA, and unless we're overthrown by a socialist government, that will continue. But I was just my big thing is the idea of putting block grants into the hands of the states, and then but continuing to mandate what the states have to offer. That is cutting off your nose to spite your face, in my opinion. And so, I agree that the tax dollars should go back to the taxpayer. The states, let's get back into the federalist idea of if a state wants to run a healthcare exchange, then it should be up to the people to decide how that comes about being. Now, having said that, I want to move on if I can. We've got about 6-7 minutes left with you. They started the confirmation hearing today on Supreme Court Justice nominee Neil Gorsuch. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name.
Gorsuch.
Gorsuch. Okay. Yeah. And after listening to the preliminary, everybody stroking everybody and telling everybody how great they are and what great Americans they are, what great patriots they are. And as I'm listening to all this, and I started thinking, what started rolling around in my head is this. The Democrats have two reasons for wanting to delay. They're not going to be able to stop the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch, whatever his name is. Gorsuch. Okay.
Gorsuch.
I'll be up at 10 o'clock tonight practicing this name. I don't know what it is with my dyslexia sometimes. I just can't get these things to process right. But anyway, there's two advantages, or two things that the left wants to do here. One, and it's very similar to what they're doing with these hearings on Russian collusion between Russia and Trump. It's just dragging this stuff out, and the reason they want to drag it out and everything else, I believe this confirmation hearing is going to drag out because, one, I think that it's payback time. They want to really make the Republicans pay for not confirming Merrick Garland during the last year of the Obama administration. But to another point, we've got lower courts here who have stopped Donald Trump's executive orders on restricting travel from Muslim countries or from the Middle East, depending on what term you want to use to describe this. And if they can get this into the Supreme Court with a 4-4 split, they stand a very good chance of this going back to the judgments of the lower court, even though the Ninth Circuit, which really blew me away, has completely torn apart these arguments by these judges that have issued these stays against the implementation of the executive order. I was reading their judgments from the Ninth Circuit, and they're like basically telling these judges in Hawaii and Washington and Maryland, you guys are clueless. You have no idea what you're doing and why you have to be politicizing this, because everything that is written in that executive order is based on Donald Trump's authority to do what he says he's going to do. You don't like it? That's too bad. But he has not overreached his authority by doing this. And I wanted to get your take on that idea. Do you think that's a viable strategy by the left? Delay this and hope that the Muslim thing falls back in the hands of the lower court rulings and completely destroys any attempt for Trump to do what he wants to do?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's viable, but I do think that that's what their plan is. I do think you're going to see a confirmation probably around the 5th of April on Gorsuch, because I think that the Republicans are going to do whatever's necessary to get that confirmation, and they have the wherewithal to get it done. I do agree with you that the reason that it's so important that the conservatives put Gorsuch up into the Supreme Court is that there are a lot of issues that are not getting to the Supreme Court. They're just waiting for us to get Gorsuch in there, so that things are a little more heavily weighed on the conservative side to get some of this legislation passed and stop arguing with it. And I think that's really what the Democrats are blocking, because the man is eminently qualified to be on the court, and so they're just playing games with him. No question that when you start listening to the questions tomorrow, they're going to be asking pointed questions about how he's going to rule on certain things. And the truth is, if he's going to be ruling on some things as a Supreme Court justice, he needs to recuse himself from actually making those comments, because he can't tell people what finding he's going to have before it comes onto the court.
Yeah, well, I know one of the big things Feinstein went after him today about was his rulings on some issues as an appeals court judge dealing with corporations. In my mind, I'll tell you what popped up in my mind. Why would the Supreme Court be trying anything to do with corporations? That's not the function of the Supreme Court. You know, it's not DC. There's so many cases that make their way up the Supreme Court that should never be there in the first place. Don't qualify under what the job description of the Supreme Court is. So we're like, okay, she wants to paint this guy as a friend of corporate America. And I'm like, what does that have to do with ruling on constitutional issues? You're talking about something more along the lines of maybe a civil lawsuit or something like that. You know, a liability lawsuit or something like that.
Well, her problem with there is Citizens United when the Supreme Court found that corporations could make contributions and be involved in politics and in electing a representative. And that's where her big problem is, because that, you know, she would like to see that get reversed. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen, and I don't know why she would, because she receives money from it anyways. We're out of time, Bob. I wanted to give you got about 45 seconds to plug your show.
You know, this happens to me twice a week. I run out of time. I don't understand that. Anyway, listen to you folks. What you need to do is to listen to Joe and listen to John and get my app. That way you can listen to me every day without having to worry about what John and Joe are saying about me or what I'm saying about them. I'm on every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Just go to get my app. Go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, download it. It's absolutely free. You can listen to me 24/7 at your own convenience without interfering with John and Joe's show, because you want to know what they're saying so that you'll know how I'm going to respond to them on Mondays and Fridays when we do our simulcast. Hey guys, have a great evening. Have a great week. We'll talk to you on Friday.
All right. You take care. All right.
All right. Now we're going to be back after these brief messages with our own John Hansen, that little old wine drinker. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
When they ask who's a fool in the corner crying, I say, a little old wine drinker me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, Jon Hansen.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 72 on his way to 52 degrees. And it's not going to be sunny that long. We've got a storm coming in tonight. Going to be with us for a couple of days. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Madrid, Spain, and that's where our good buddy Jon Hansen is going to be fairly soon, it's 63 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 48 degrees and it's raining, but I'll tell you what, no rain over the top of the head of my good buddy Jon Hansen, that little old wine drinker. Hey, Jon, you're on the air, buddy.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I am doing terrific. I'm going through withdrawals of this magnificent lunch that I had a week ago today.
Which was long overdue, my friend.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. So, you know what? We ought to tell the folks, what we did. What we wound up doing is Jon and I got together last Monday. We decided to do an archive show so we could enjoy each other. And we went to the Ways and Means that we've been talking about for so long that moved into Huntington Beach to the, I forget the name of the that mall there, Pacific Huntington Mall. What do they call that mall, Jon?
Yeah, I think it's Huntington Mall. It's actually right on PCH. You're overlooking the Pacific Ocean there. I mean, it's a beautiful facility right next to the Hilton there in Huntington Beach, right on the beach. So, I mean, it's location, key location. Although, Bob, when we went there, it seemed like it was a little more casual. I mean, the old place seemed to be a little more formal than this one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think
right on the beach, so maybe, okay, you can be a little more casual. But I mean, I don't know. I like the old place better.
Well, yeah, because first of all, it was closer. We could go more often. Secondly, but you got to remember, the old place was easier for us to get to, but this is really a high traffic area. And you look out it's like an open dining room kind of thing, and you look right out at the ocean. It's actually quite beautiful. Interesting, Jon. My neighbor happened to be there, not at the Ways and Means, but happened to be there in that mall in a different restaurant. Just as we were leaving, they were arriving, and so we actually had dinner with them on Friday for St. Patrick's Day, and they were telling us where they were at. And I said, really? I was there at around noon.
That's funny. That is funny. But yeah, it's just the location. I mean, has to be key. I mean, they have to be paying a pretty price for that location.
Well, they better be a whole lot busier than they were on Monday when you and I were there, because maybe they're doing a bigger dinner, or maybe maybe it was a Monday. Maybe Mondays is slow for them. But I'll tell you what, that Lobster Monday was every bit as good as it ever was when you and I were there before.
Oh, absolutely, Bob. And it's funny because we get to check. We got there. We had a dozen of oysters. It was funny because you looked on Yelp before coming down, and you mentioned that they said the food was spectacular, but the service was a little lackluster.
Yeah. And
it took a while for the server to get there. But when he got there, very cordial, very nice. He was attentive to us. Knowledge of the menu, as I said, he didn't know what oysters he had. He knew that because of the weekend, because it was the big food and wine convention at Anaheim there, and I'm sure they traveled down to the beach as well. So he says we were out of some oysters. He didn't know exactly what oysters we were out of. But still, he got a nice little combination for us. The oysters are great, of course, coming in. They've always been great. Yeah. But back at the old place, Bob, they used to do for industrial people, people in the business, $2 oysters
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
Now they don't. But still, I mean, they were at $3-4 tops oysters, so it's not a big deal. But I tell you, we had a dozen oysters. We had the chowder, and the only bad thing, the chowder was tasty. You had a little smoked apple with bacon on top. The presentation was really nice, but there was so much roux in the soup, Bob.
Yeah, you could, and they didn't cook it out. You got the flour taste in it, John. They didn't cook the roux long enough.
And there's nothing wrong with thin soup. As I say, our executive chef at Napa Rose, Andrew Sutton, he actually strains all his soups for a chinois to get it a very thin viscosity. Mm-hmm. And we have by far our most popular soup. And I'll tell you a cute little story about it. The chef put it on the menu about, I'm going to say 10 years ago. And he's very seasonal, so it was our winter-fall menu. And when we turned it over in the spring, he took it off and he discovered there was a hell of a lot of people coming in. Where's that mushroom soup? So to combat the situation, what he did, he made a promise that would make a cameo appearance 2 to 3 times a month. That was enough to give up. So he put it on the menu. It's been on the menu ever since. But he describes it as a cappuccino bisque. And the chef loves to play on words because people actually ask, is there coffee in it? I go, no. The reason why he put cappuccino, because it kind of depicts a cappuccino, because it's in like a coffee cup, and he puts the brandy thyme emulsion on top that kind of depicts the steamed milk in the cappuccino. So when you get it, it kind of looks like a cappuccino, but there's no coffee in it, and it is by far one of our most popular soups. But as I said, he calls it a bisque. When people think bisque, they think of a thick soup. And, I have to coincide with our chef, Andy. I mean, I don't like that thick, flat. Who invented roux? I don't know. The thick and stuff.
I think somebody in Louisiana, John.
Oh, and it tastes like flour. That was probably the most disappointing thing. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was good. You had the bacon, yet the presentation was nice, but there was so much roux in the soup, and it was so thick. You could have actually put your pie spoon in it, and it would stand there.
Yeah, that was really a technique problem because I've used roux, and the thing is that they want. You're right. They had too much because it was way too thick. But the other was they didn't cook it enough. They didn't cook that flour taste out of there. And that was the big problem that they made. A lot of French chefs, what they do? They use these imitation or dehydrated potato flakes, and they'll take a little bit of these dehydrated potato flakes and put it into the soup to thicken it up a little bit instead of using a roux because you don't get any of that bad flavor.
Yeah. So you don't get that flour flavor. There's a lot of hidden little secrets. And it's funny, we're somewhat known for our potatoes, and our potatoes, they're just like the French Laundry. Mm-hmm. It's probably 3/4 butter and 1/4 potato. I mean, it is so rich and delicious, but it is unbelievable. Yeah. Probably not the best thing to eat for your health, but I mean, probably the best tasting potatoes you ever had in your entire life.
Well, yeah, but you didn't go to the French Laundry for your health.
No, you don't.
Matter of fact, you not only hurt your physical health, you hurt your monetary health.
Exactly, barely. I think you hurt your monetary health much more than you do your actual health. But that's another story. But I mean, other than that, I mean, as I said, the bright spots. I mean, the food was great. I mean, as I said, you looked on Yelp before, and I say, I hate Yelp, buddy.
I do too.
Who is writing this report? Michelle at 19. As I said, we went to what was the restaurant? The Italian restaurant we went to, and the appetizers were amazing, and then the entrees came. We were so disappointed.
Oh yeah. We were in Victoria Gardens. It was.
What's that?
I can't think of the name of that thing.
It starts with a B. Anyway, yeah. I mean, it started off great, but then it just totally went downhill. And it's like, well, if you just go there for appetizers and the mimosa, you're going to have the time of your life.
Yeah.
That was a few bright spots. And so to look at Yelp, because it's not food critics. They're not food and wine critics. It could be Kim that's 19 that's only eating at Burger King and McDonald's, and she goes to this place and she thinks this is the best restaurant in the world. Well, know, and it could be Michelle at 52 who's ate at the French Laundry, Reds, all the top restaurants all around the world, and then is giving you her opinion. But you have no idea who is this person giving this opinion on Yelp. So.
Yeah.
You got to take Yelp with a grain of salt, my friend.
Well, yeah, you know what? And I don't really pay much attention to that to Yelp that much. It just happened to come up when I was trying to find the address to the Ways and Means, and because I had never been there before, and so when I was trying to do it, Yelp was what actually came on, and they had these criticisms and things, and I happened to look at it because I was trying to judge it based on what you and I had experienced before. Actually, I had thought that you and Raina, your lovely wife, had actually gone to the new location before, but apparently you and I went for the very first time together on Monday. And while it's easy for us to be critical because we've eaten in some of the finest restaurants in the world, I thought it was a good experience. You know, other than little nuances, I thought it was a good experience.
I agree, and as I said, the two key items is you're right. I mean, as I said, we were a little chilly. You know,
yeah.
It was a little cool in there, but I can imagine on a nice summer day with the ocean breeze coming in and that view. We can spend 4 hours there just having a cocktail.
Oh yeah,
and now in addition, what they do. They actually have their own wine. We didn't, of course, the waiter didn't know who actually made the wine. And, they said, you got to teach your staff. And that was, as I said, the one thing on that they said the service wasn't good. I mean, our service.
Well, it wasn't the best service in town, but he really started he did come around. But the problem was he was not a knowledgeable server. He couldn't tell you anything.
All he said, I think it's from, Livermore.
Yeah.
He said the wine. He didn't know what winery made it, but it was from Livermore. You have to now. It's the same owners but different chef. And as I said, atmosphere-wise, I like the old restaurant better because it's a little more elegant.
Yeah,
this was a little more. But you're on the beach. You don't need elegant. You probably come in with shorts and t-shirts from the beach and have something nice to eat.
Yeah.
The price though. We had a dozen oysters, 2 soups. Whole lobster.
Yeah, a whole Maine lobster.
A Maine lobster, for $100.
Yeah. Yeah, and that included the tip.
And that included we brought our own wine in, so corkage fee of only $10.
Yeah.
As I said, the French Laundry now is $175 corkage. Our corkage is $25. So for $10, that was a nice, incredible experience. And not to say that I tell you that wine, it was the Wayfair by Paulmeyer.
Mm-hmm.
Paulmeyer.
I want to tell you, it was a magnificent wine.
You've got to get a bottle from Marlene. I want to know Marlene's response on that Chardonnay because I think she's going to love that shirt.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, great experience. As I said, it's still the same owners. So they're and our server actually, so they're opening up one in Oregon and somewhere down, I think, towards San Diego area.
Yeah.
They're expanding, so evidently, I mean, I'm sure they're paying a lot more for rent than they were at the old space. So they have
to be.
During the summer, it's jam packed. I'm sure because I mean, you talk about high volume in summer.
Well, John, they've been there. They've been at this new location. I mean, I'm almost ashamed to say it, but they've been at this new location for about a year and a half, right?
Yeah, a little over a year. He said they've been there. Just about, not quite a year and a half, but almost a year and a half now. So, yeah, shame on us, huh?
Yeah.
But as I said, I think I like the old chef better. I like the ambiance better, but I like the location better, but too far away from us now.
Yeah.
Especially, because you got a real long drive, but it's even a little drive for me, and I live in Orange County. So, in the summer, I'm sure we're going to have to revisit in the summer where, it's too hot when it's 100 degrees out there. When we go down to the beach and it's only 75, and you got you and everything, and it's not bad when you got girls walking in front of you with bikinis, but that's another story. That
gives you a whole different appetite. Hey, speaking of appetites, John, our good buddy Bruno Serrato was featured on 60 Minutes yesterday.
Yes, he was. And I was going to bring it up. Yes,
and indicated that he's definitely going to be reopening the White House. It's going to take some time, but it was a good spot.
Yeah, and that was great. I mean, because the guy's amazing. And I talked to Franco, and we're gonna. We got some great upcoming guests coming up. One, of course, is our good friend Franco. To see what he's doing in the meantime, and an update what is going on with the White House, and maybe a possible a guesstimate when they will be opening the White House again.
Yeah. My guess is that it's got to be 10 months a year before they can put that thing back together.
And you know, construction, it always gets delayed somehow. So, you know, the construction guy would say 10 months. It's going to be that's a year. Yeah. 10 months is a year if they say 10 months. So,
but you know what? For my taste, if they could just recreate it exactly the way it was, that would be perfection for me.
Well, you know, you and I know, Bruno, I'm sure it's going to be very close. Yeah. You know, very close to exactly what it was. And it's funny because, you know, our favorite restaurant, 30 years ago was Michael's in Vegas. And they did the same thing, and we told that story where they moved it to South Point, and it's identical inside. I mean, they actually took the same door off the one in Beverly Coast and put it the one at South Point. So,
and the Tiffany lamp, the ceiling.
Everything. Yeah. Everything is like, and the staff is every single person that works.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Tell that story, John, because you do it so well about the vote that he had when he was talking to his staff and the decisions that were made. You know what? We got to take a break. We've got 1 minute before we have to take a break. Let me do this. Let's leave it there. Let's take a break. Let's come back, and then you can tell that story. How's that?
That sounds great.
Okay, we'll be right back with John Hansen, that little old wine drinker. We're going to give you a story about Michael's, in my opinion, one of the best restaurants in Las Vegas. I think John would agree with me. There's a lot of great restaurants in Las Vegas, but Michael's is an experience that everyone should have at least once in their lifetime. We'll be right back with John after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 68 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now it says it's going down to 51 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Sydney, Australia, listening to our show, well, first of all, it's tomorrow, but it's 77 degrees and it's overcast. If you're in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 68 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what? Hang on to your hats. My good buddy Jon Hansen, that little old wine drinker's here, and Jon is going to tell you a story about one of our favorite restaurants in Las Vegas. It's called Michael's. Hey, Jon, you got the air, buddy.
Yeah, Bob, you actually was the guy who said, you got to go. We met in the late 80s, and you said this was the restaurant you had to go. And for those old school people, I think there was like 3 servers per table. And it was funny because the relish tray came out, and as soon as you ate an olive and put a bit in the thing, the waiter would come and take the pit. You talk about service.
Yeah.
It was second to none. And in the 70s and 80s, it was the restaurant out there in Vegas. And what happened, the senior partner, it was a group of 3 gentlemen that were buying hotels, and it was Barbary Coast, Suncoast.
The Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. The conglomerate, they had all these hotels, and they were going to build a new hotel. And they were going to close the Barbary Coast. So the senior partner was getting up there in age, is a good friend of mine, our good friend Ron Gill. And he said he wanted out. And what he offered his other 2 partners, he said, listen, I'm going to take the South Point that was opening up, but he wanted to take the restaurant Michael's. And that would be his hotel. He would own it free and clear. And he would give the other 2 partners everything else they have. New Orleans, Gold Coast, all the other hotels that were in their chain there. And of course they agreed. It's like, let me get it straight. You take one and we take 3, 4 each, so it was, they walked away because they were younger, and he just wanted to retire with that one hotel. But his restaurant was Michael's. So he went up to the staff at Michael's and said, listen, we're closing the Barbary Coast. You will no longer have a job. But I have a proposal. We are opening a new hotel called South Point. It's going to be about a year and a half before we open. But here's the deal. And every single person has to be aboard, including the manager, all the way down to the dishwasher. Everybody has to be on board in this. And what he did, he said, I will pay you your salary, which you made last year, for the next year and a half to 2 years until we open. If you guys all agree that we're going to take Michael's and bring it to South Point. And of course, everybody agreed because they're going to get paid for not working.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an easy.
Well, that's a great deal for these guys. It's like, let me get this straight. I'm not going to be working, but I'll get paid like I was working. Exactly. So what he did, he totally took Michael's and brought it to South Point. everything's identical. He actually took the door. I mean, because what Michael's the thing when you walk up, you saw this big wooden door with this, glass little window up top. It was distinctive. And he actually took the door, and then where he basically replicated Michael's at South Point, and the entire staff went over. So it's exactly the same. And if you love old school, I mean, they do tableside. At the end of the evening, you get, your particulars like truffles. You get a big food. I mean, this big fruit basket comes out. There's no way you can eat even half the stuff that comes out there.
Oh, yeah, seafood towers.
Oh, it is just amazing. They do the Dover sole, it's the whole sole. They do the steak Diane. They do the flambés. If you love old school, it's still there in Vegas. And, honestly, restaurants have progressed, and you don't see too many, because the reason why you don't see that old school service is because it is time consuming. And, you have people, as I said, you take a pit, an olive from the relish tray you put down, they come and they take the pit.
Yeah, at best they've got 2 seatings a night. They're never going to get to 3 because of the kind of service they have.
They're not making. I mean, everything's turn and burn. I mean, we can sit here and do a show just on the philosophy of restaurants where they actually changed the color because everybody was red in the 70s, and they found out they turned it red because it will make you go faster just to turn and burn customers. Well, they're not worried. I mean, they only have 2 seatings. That's it the whole night. You're there the whole night.
Yeah.
And as I said, you have like 2 servers per table. They're standing there wherever you need. All you got to do is just look around. It's like, yes, sir. It's like, can I get this? And it's boom, it's there. I mean, second to none service. You still get that great old school thing where they do the sole at the table. They debone the sole at the table. They cook the steak Diane there. They do the banana Fosters, the Cherries Jubilee. That is gone because it's too expensive to do. This gentleman, and I would love to have him on the show. Maybe we can get Ron to get him to come on the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, thank God that. Yeah, I hate to call it a relic because it is one of the most incredible restaurants still. The food is just incredible. But it goes back to the old school era, which I still love, and I know you still love.
Oh, yeah.
When we met, which we had at our restaurant, Cala, you don't get that no more. We talked about Shea Curry, all these things.
Yep.
You put the stool underneath there. You go out to your car, and it's like, how was the lamb tonight, Mr. Cardoza?
Yeah.
How the hell did you know I had lamb? That stuff. I mean, that's what is important to me. And now with this millennium generation coming in, that it's definitely going to be a thing of the past because that will never be. And it's one of the last hurrahs.
One of the ironic things, John, as we say that, and we both kind of believe that, but if you think about Michael's has no problem filling that restaurant. And they have no problem getting the prices they get. I mean, it's got to be averaging somewhere around $300 a head.
It depends what you order. I mean, it's not a set menu like the French Laundry or all these restaurants. You order off the menu. So, I mean, it could be, you just go and have a French onion soup. It does not matter. But the thing is, for what you get, it's still a great deal. It's not cheap. It's a classy restaurant. It's a high-end restaurant. And the food is fantastic. The service is fantastic. You talk about service. As I said, you take an olive from the relish tray and you put the pit on your tray. They come and take the pit. Yeah. I mean, what other restaurant will do that? Yeah. I mean, the water goes down a half inch. They refill it. I mean, you can't get this service anywhere else. And it is amazing. And as I said, the staff's been there for a long time. And you can ask them anything about the menu. They have the menu memorized, so, we were talking about ways and means. But
we're talking, now we're talking about a big difference between ways and means and Michael's. That's like talking about roller skates and a Bentley.
Yeah. You're talking a top-notch gourmet dining to a more casual atmosphere with good food. And, I did want to bring up something which kind of blew me away this week because, of course, we just had St. Patrick's Day. And St. Patrick's Day, it's a simple day. Corned beef, cabbage, shepherd's pie, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Irish food is simple because they were poor and, you ate what was there. And it was funny because every year, since we lived here in Anaheim, we bought our house in 2002. There's a Marie Callender's down the street. And they celebrate all the holidays, Mm-hmm. The biggest day, of course, is Thanksgiving Day. But every St. Patty's Day, they do the corned beef and cabbage and the shepherd's pie and all that. And it is packed. And with March Madness as well, because, we're at the bar, they had 3 TVs, mm-hmm. and which is because you got it on True TV, you have it on TBS, and then Channel 2 cover it. So you can watch every game that's going on. And I went down there to watch all 3 games Thursday when the March Madness started on the 16th. Mm-hmm. It was packed. It was packed. Bar was packed. Everything was packed. And I go, I better get down early because Raina comes. She goes, listen, go get a couple orders of the corned beef and cabbage so we can have lunch the next day. We'll warm it up and we can do our little traditional thing because she had to work. It was because it was on Friday. Mm-hmm. And I go down there and I walk in thinking, oh God, I hope I can get a seat. There was one person at the bar.
You're kidding.
And one family in the bar area having lunch with a kid screaming. I'm like, what the hell happened? What's going on? They had tickets. I go, it's March Madness. I was here yesterday. It was jam-packed. Why isn't anybody here? And I go, well, I tell you what, I need to get the 2 of the corned beef cabbage to go. And the bartender goes, we didn't do it this year. We didn't do the shepherd's pie or corned beef and cabbage.
No wonder the place was empty.
Yeah. No, and she goes, we've had 40 calls. You got it right. We're coming down. And I said, what is wrong? Are you kidding me? This is one of your biggest days. And so I go, where's the manager? I go, why wouldn't it? He says it's corporate. It was a corporate thing. I go, do you got a number I can call? She goes, this is a corporate number. So we called up and we said, we do this every year since we lived here in Anaheim. It's been packed every year. Why didn't you do it? And they go, well, for one day. They do it for 2 weeks. And he goes, well, that one day, of course, we sell it. Then after that, we don't sell that much. I go, so do it for 1 day or 2 days, whatever. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do it? I go, I was there Thursday. It was packed for March Madness. I'm thinking that, oh, my God, I'm not going to get a seat. Hopefully my buddy RJ will save me a little seat or something because I text him, I'm coming down. And there was one person at the bar. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, even if it was just a regular day for March Madness, people come in and checking the scores and everything.
Another stupid corporate decision.
Oh my God! So I call up and I go, I don't understand this. What's going? And the guy goes, well, they're looking at numbers. I go, numbers. I go, I tell you what. Here's my number. Let me know if you're not going to do turkey on Thanksgiving because what is? Are you kidding me? And I go, well, as I said, I was there yesterday. It was packed, just people watching the basketball games. And I go down, which is usually one of your busiest days of the whole year. There was one person sitting at the bar and one family in your whole bar area. I was there yesterday. The place was packed. Everybody's going to get corned beef, cabbage, shepherd pie. I'm like, you've got what? Who is in charge? No wonder Marie Callender is going down. I mean, it's simple food. It's nothing. You go for the pies. They're known for the pies. As I said, we have a good friend that really takes care of us at the bar. We love him, and he's my sports buddy. We go to the games together and everything. So I just go down to him and watch the games and chat with him and say, hey, we always talk about sports. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, I don't know what they're thinking, but it was so. And since we were talking about Ways and Means, what did Ways and Means do for St. Patrick's Day? They did the shepherd's pie special on 17th for St. Patty's Day. So, hey, you know what? Kudos to Ways and Means. I'm no longer going to Marie Callender's on St. Patrick's Day. We're going to Ways and Means. But how much time do we got, Bob?
You got plenty of time.
Okay.
You got. I mean, you know what? You've got. Let's see here. 4 minutes.
Okay, great. Okay. They've changed up their schedule. Now we talked about what they used to have, and of course they kept the $9.99 lobster. Mm-hmm. We had the chef on, and it cost. And it's funny because we go, "What does it cost you to get that lobster?" He goes, "Well, it costs us because we buy so much, $11 a lobster." I'm like, well, you got to cook it, you got to prep it, you got to serve like this, and then
Well, they lose $1 before they do anything to it.
before you do anything. And utilities, it takes money to cook the thing. It takes the server to bring it out. So before anything, they already lost $1 going out. Just getting the damn thing in.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a loss leader. To get people in. But Tuesday nights have changed. It is now 2 fish shrimp tacos, fish and shrimp tacos, bottomless endless blonde beer for $10. So it's $2 tacos and $10 for bottomless beers on Tuesday. So it's kind of like Taco Tuesday. Wednesday is still half off of old wine bottles. So, they got, the wine list isn't, as I said, you're not going to a formal restaurant. It's kind of casual, but they had some decent wine. They had some nice wines there and half price. So, they have some $100 and some dollar bottles of wine there you can pick up for $50, $60.
Yeah.
Thursday, $8 Belvedere martinis, which, you're talking top grade vodka martinis for only $8. Usually you see everywhere else is like 12, 15, whatever.
Yeah.
Friday, and this is funny, their slogan is "Save water, drink Veuve Clicquot." Hey, I'm aboard. $12 a glass for Veuve Clicquot. You can't beat that. Okay. Saturday they do have the brunch, bottomless mimosas or champagne, all day oyster specials they do for $2. That's the only day they do the oyster specials. On Sunday they still have the bottomless glass of mimosa, but $15 for a whole roasted chicken on Sunday. So great Sunday classic there. And after 2 p.m. to sunset, Monday through Friday, $6 for vodka gin martinis and $20 for a bucket of beer at Ways and Means. So still great. As I said, I kind of favor the old one because, one, it's closer. 2, I like the atmosphere better. But I tell you, on a hot summer night, I think I would change my mind on that. It's still a great place. Exceptional deals. Ways and Means, unbelievable. In my last minute, what I do want to promote is that Disney is doing their Food and Wine Festival. Last week we had Christian Roganoff, one of my favorite winemakers ever. Great guy. He gave me, he came in and he gave me a few bottles to try. And the wine pick of the weekend is kind of a teaser because you can't get it. You may even get it at the up at the winery. He did a sparkling Albarino.
Oh.
And it was just a blank bottle with a bottle cap on it. He doesn't even know he's going to release it at the winery. But it was just totally different from any sparkling wine I ever had before. Christian, you're the greatest. And go to Disney's website to see what's going on and the food and wine special. What's going on? Typically have celebrity chefs, celebrity winemakers coming in. But the one thing I did want to mention, the 27th through the 29th, our special winemaker coming down is Linda Neal.
Oh, really?
Yes.
To the Napa Rose?
Well, she's going to be at she has her own booth pouring her wine.
Oh.
I'm sure she's coming into the Napa Rose for dinner. But she will be here the 27th through the 29th. So we got to get on the show. As I said, we got to get Franco on the show. Let's talk about the White House, what's going with that. Plus also, Joey, our mixologist, he's been doing incredible stuff with tequila. Spring's here, summer's here, baseball's here, March Madness is here. Bob, it's an exciting time of the year. We got some great lineups coming up. Can't wait to bring these people in, and we'll talk again on Monday, my friend.
Well, it sounds absolutely fantastic, John. Great show. We had a lot. I don't know where the time goes. It just flies by here with you. Every time I talk to you for an hour, I get a year older.
I had 4 pages of stuff. I didn't get through my first page of stuff. So I don't know.
Well, you've got stuff for next Monday. That works out good.
There we go.
All right, John. Give that lovely lady of yours a big hug and a kiss from me, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. You do the same for me.
All right, buddy. Now, the rest of you folks, stay tuned with this, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, an interesting but useless fact. You don't want to miss it. We've got a lot of great show for you. And then coming up after that, we'll do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, hey, the rescue party. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And, I want you to know that at 4:44 p.m. Pacific time, currently, hey, it's getting a little warmer, 70 degrees outside. It's down from 79 degrees on its way to 51 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Hong Kong, hey, it's 73 degrees and partly cloudy. If you're listening to us in Lisbon, Portugal, beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful country. It's 55 degrees and mostly cloudy. But right now, what I want to talk to you about is the secret daily teaching for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. And, you really do decide. I tell you every day, you decide if you're going to be happy or sad, rich or poor, a success or a failure. You decide if the people around you are going to feel happy. You do all that when you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a productive, profitable day today. And I'm going to make everybody I talk to glad that I'm with them. Yeah, you decide that. Well, you know what? Today's teaching is pretty simple. Praising and blessing dissolves all negativity. So praise and bless your enemies. If you curse your enemies, the curse will come back to harm you. If you praise and bless them, you'll dissolve all negativity and discord, and the love of the praising and blessings will return to you. As you praise and bless, you will feel yourself shift into a new frequency with the feedback of good feelings. I'm telling you guys, it works. It's all up to you. You need to maintain a positive mental attitude. That's what life is all about. You want to be happy for the rest of your life? You and your wife? Then get up with a positive mental attitude. Well, you know what today is? Sure you do. It's Monday. It's March the 20th, and it is somebody's birthday. Yes, sir. You know what? It's not only somebody's birthday, but, we've got some terrific birthdays today. And we're going to start right off at the top with a fellow that was born in 1922, an American film director. This guy is really talented. Happy birthday, Carl Reiner. And somebody born in 1945, an NBA player and coach, widely regarded as one of the greatest NBA coaches of all time. He is the person that you see on the NBA logo. Happy birthday, Pat Riley. And here's one for you. Somebody born in 1958, actress who has done movies for which she won several acting awards. Happy birthday, Holly Hunter. And then finally, born in 1986, a recording artist who is inspired by glam rock musicians. Real good friend of Tony Bennett. That, you know what? She's just a really talented lady. Happy birthday, Lady Gaga. Yeah. Well, were you wondering what was going on today in history? Wonder no more, because I'm about to tell you. On this date, March 20th, 1852, Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin was published. And on this date in 1916, Albert Einstein publishes his general theory of relativity. Not that, that 100 years ago, 101 years ago, guys. How about this? On this date in 1985, Libby Riddles becomes the very first woman to win the 1,135-mile Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race. And then finally, on this date in 1990, Ferdinand Marcos' widow, Imelda Marcos, goes on trial for bribery, embezzlement, and racketeering. The lady with more shoes in her closet than Carter's got liver pills. Can you imagine? Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Herbert Swope. And Herbert says, I cannot give you the formula for success, but I can give you the formula for failure, which is try to please everybody. Yeah, you heard me right. That's just isn't going to happen because it just isn't possible. Well, it's time for us to give you some interesting but useless facts. Let me spend a few minutes doing that. Did you know that you're born with 300 bones, but when you get to be an adult, you only have about 206 of them because they kind of grow together. That's what happens. Well, you know that it's only appropriate to fly the United States flag upside down in emergencies. It means, help me, I'm in trouble. Did you know that? Well, you know it now. It's a good thing to know. Don't be offended. Be inquisitive. Find out if somebody needs help. We lose half a liter of water a day through breathing. Now, this is the water vapor that we see when we breathe into a glass. Yeah. Water vapor. Four-wheel roller skates were invented by James L. Plimpton in 1863. Can you guess where? Yeah. Plimpton, New Jersey. You knew that, I guess. How about this? Did you know that the cucumber is not a vegetable? Botanically, it's a fruit. So are the eggplant, the pumpkin, the squash, the tomato, the gherkin, and the okra, rhubarb, however, is botanically a vegetable, not a fruit. Isn't that kind of interesting? Well, did you know that fog and a cloud are the same thing, only at different altitudes? Fog is simply a cloud lying on the earth, while clouds are fog floating in the sky. Yeah, I know you found it interesting. I know you did. Let me leave you with this one. Christopher Columbus was the greatest explorer never to discover America. In fact, he didn't even come close. Give that some thought. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, as I told you, is Rescue Party. You're not going to want to miss this.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:55 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's 70 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 51 degrees, but tonight we're going to get some rain for the next couple of days. So, we'll be adding to lessening the drought here in California. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Wichita, Kansas with my good buddy Sean LaFave, well, it's 86 degrees and it's cleared. If you are in Cleveland, Ohio, It's 48 degrees, and it's overcast. But you know what? Right now, I want to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey in the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know, the American Broadcasting Company calls him the biggest voice in America. He's Paul Harvey, and each week, millions of listeners, viewers, and readers await his unraveling of the mysteries of events and the lives of people, past and present. He was heard on over 1,400 radio stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. Well, today's story, Rescue Party. You're going to find this really interesting. You know, Jamestown was the very first English settlement in America. That is the way we have always heard it, and that is the way it was. We were also taught that 3 shiploads of English settlers, 104 men, had been sent to the New World by the London Company to organize a trade base. They were, and it was. The hope of finding gold and silver was also prime incentive for the eager colonists. What else do the history books say? Well, they were 5 months at sea before reaching Chesapeake Bay in April of 1607. They were 17 days on the James River before deciding upon a site for their settlement. And it was not a good choice. The location was low and swampy. The food supply was limited, the drinking water virtually undrinkable. Malaria struck, Indians struck, bad weather struck. It was like colonizing the moon with none of the advantages. But we did learn the real trouble which almost caused the mission to abort. The problem with Jamestown and how it was solved is the rest of the story. Jamestown Colony was barely a year old and in trouble. Settlement leader, Captain John Smith, had the primary problem pegging precisely. His company was comprised of gentlemen adventurers, temperamentally ill prepared to meet the adversity which lay before them. In an urgent message to his sponsors back home, Captain Smith said, "Send me some men. Send carpenters, blacksmiths, and masons. I would rather have a handful of those men, 1,000 like those I have." September 25th, 1608, the handful from London sailed up the James River. The ship Goodspeed brought 6 broad-shouldered workmen to Jamestown. Workmen. A rescue party. Axes slung over their shoulder, the new men followed Captain Smith into the forest in search of a likely area to make a clearing. Within 3 weeks, a plot had been cleared, a furnace had been erected. The workmen tapped pine trees and began distilling tar and pitch. It was the first factory in the New World. The rescue party then proceeded to set up a soap works and a sawmill. By November of 1608, a little more than a month after the 6 workmen had arrived in Jamestown, the other colonists became inspired by the splendid example and were themselves hard at work. According to Captain John Smith, the first English foothold in the New World was saved specifically by 6 able men. Because of them, the English colony of Jamestown survived. That's Michelle Lewicki, Zbigniew Stefanski, Jermata, Jan Bogdan, Karol Zrinka, Stanislaus Sadowski. For the 6 men who rescued Jamestown, the 6 enthusiastic workers who taught the English how to work, were Polish. That was 12 years before the Mayflower landed. And now you know the rest of the story. You know, I want to encourage you to get my app. It's absolutely free. Go to your web store or your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live. The app will pop up. It's absolutely free. Just download it. Doesn't make any difference whether you have an iPhone or an Android or what you've got. It'll work there, I promise you. And the thing is you'll be able to listen to my show 24/7. You'll even be able to listen to it live if we're broadcasting live like we are now, and it'll tell you. And you can actually chat with us in our chat room, and we can see what's going on. That's what I'd like you to really do. And then, you know what? I'd love for you to tell your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. It's important. We're on 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And we broadcast worldwide. Some terrestrial stations, some internet stations. We do everything we can. You'll even find us on social networks. We're on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. We're all over the place. Look for us. Send our show to your friends and let them listen. We've got interesting things. The one thing that I'm always going to do is I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like what I have to say, but it'll be the truth. You won't catch me saying something just because it's a popular thing to say. I'm going to say it because it's the truth. Yeah. Well, on my next show tomorrow, Sean LaFave and I are going to be talking about healthcare on Geared for Wellness. I continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And you know what? Tomorrow's story, let's see if I can pop that up here. I'm trying to do it with one hand, and there we go. It's surprise attack. You're not going to want to miss that. That's a good story. It's a really, really interesting story. And then I want to ask you again, please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. They're going to be really glad you did. You're going to be glad you did. I can promise you, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to be glad that you did too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.